Hey guys, prospect says, I don't have the money, which is the most common objection observed and experienced in the sales world. So if you are a sales professional, remote closer, hang out for a few minutes and understand how you can strategically work around this objection. And sometimes you will figure out it's not the price objection. And sometimes you will figure out it was a different objection, it became the price objection. Typically, when a prospect comes across with this objection, I don't have the money. Well, they don't have the money enough right now for their need. Number two is they don't see the value of the product, the benefit of the product. So I'm gonna break this down into 4 different scenarios. But if you are in direct messages, just no phone call, no Zoom, I suggest this when prospect says I don't have the money, this could just terminate the conversation. In order for you, there's not much you can do, but this is my tip. Try asking a couple of things. Isn't this the first reason you should be buying this product or helping yourself to get this product in order for you to level up your skill so you can afford? That's number 1. If you are in the DMs, you can always use this on phone call, Zoom, swipe right away. But again, in those next 4 scenarios, you're gonna learn more about what exactly to say in that particular scenario. And I've seen between 2,000 calls I have taken in last 3 years. I don't think I have gone outside of these 4 scenarios, right? If you are DMing, number 1 is, isn't this the first reason prospect you should buy the product, right? And number 2 is, if you know more about the prospect, let's say if you know prospect's age, which is 30 plus, let's say 31. Hey prospect, aren't you 31? And how long have you been having this issue, the money issue? Let's say it's about 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, doesn't matter. At 31, if a person is having a money issue, right? It's time for you to let them know that we might have a bigger problem than just the money, right? Again, you are in DMs, you really do not know, you can't read their personality, you can't read their tonality. It's pretty hard. It's a gray area right there. They could be lying as well. But some of the things which you can professionally, communicate is these 2 things about. But let's break it down into scenario by scenario. Scenario number 1, cold call. No application, none of that, right? Cold call, just outbound. You are calling, hey prospect, what's going on? I saw that you have their number, you call them up. Hey prospect, what's going on? I saw that you called about this product, and I just like to know where you are, what's going on. Is it good time to talk about all of that? The opening and whatnot, I talk about specifically in my course, Remote Closing, very specific to each and every scenario. I have had almost 1,000 students plus taking that course right now. So, and they have benefited. So not only I talk about those little things in my course, but also take them to the promised land of how they can actually take their career from 0 to remote sales career. They can actually build their career in 7 days. But let's not digress here. Number 1 is, you calling the prospect. It's an outbound cold call, and you did that. You build the rapport. You asked all the questions, in terms of how much they know about the product. And prospect says, after 15-20 minutes, prospect says, I don't have the money. Well, your goal at this time, about the prospect. You know where prospect is. You know where prospect is with the knowledge about your product. Right? As a sales professional, do not disagree with them. The more, if they say, I don't have the money, in fact, you should be doing opposite. You should agree with them and let them know, hey man, this is the last thing I want you to think or feel, that you're paying for something which you don't find the value, right? So the first thing first is you want to ask them, prospect, I get that. Is this the only thing which is stopping you to get started today? Prospect says, yeah, this is the only thing. Well, let me work out these 3 solutions. The number 1 is payment plan. See if you can set up a payment plan with them. Number 2 is see if you can provide a discount without hurting yourself and the business, right? Number 3 is see if you can make them resourceful and have them ask for money from their peers which they are comfortable with. Do not, I highly do not recommend you ask them to swipe their credit card. I'm not a big fan of debt. I don't recommend it, period. So the first thing is you ask the prospect, you show the prospect if there is no other objection, then I don't have the money, right? If it's an inbound call, that's a scenario number 2. Prospect, you don't have the application. Again, you came across 30-40 minutes into the call. I don't have the money. Well, prospect, isn't that the first reason you should be getting started today? So that you can have the money, so you can invest in the product, gain and implement that skill and earn. Isn't that the first reason you came into the call for, right? Now, the prospect says, well, yeah, you know what? I agree with you here, but I don't know if it's going to work for me or not. Now we are on a different tangent. Now the prospect took all that I don't have money thing into the belief thing. Now you're going to be less closer, more of the coach person. Now, I don't recommend doing coaching in terms of 30-40 minutes, but you really want to find out why prospect said that. I don't know if it's going to work for me or not, right? From not having money, I don't know if were they thinking this thing from the beginning, right? To learn more about different objections, how to overcome and handle them, I've posted a couple of videos. The links are below, but I highly suggest that, you take a look into my course where I have provided a framework which eliminates all these different objections, especially in the inbound calls, right? I give you hot tips on all these scenarios, but if you are in an inbound call and prospect in 30-40 minutes, after 30-40 minutes, prospect says, I don't have the money, man. And then you agree with them and you ask them, hey, is it the only objection which is stopping you? Well, I don't know if it will work for me or not. So now you have 2 more objections. What you want to do is you want to find out what truly is happening behind the scenes. That means, is money the only thing which is stopping them, or is the value which they do not see at the moment, right? Or their belief system is not aligned with the kind of product or the service you're providing. And that's not your issue specifically, but you as a closing professional can dig more into it and find out what's the real reason. It may be genuine, it may not be genuine, but the scenario number 2 here in an inbound call is not the money issue. Scenario number 3, prospect, you cold calling the prospect, list out that you received the application, and in that application you see prospect's budget is $3,000 and your product costs $5,000. So right away, build rapport and whatnot. You want to quickly ask them, hey, just going through your application, is it still accurate that your budget is $3,000? Well, has there anything changed from you having to fill that application till now? Prospect says, no, it's still the same. My budget is $3,000. I'm not going to go above that. Well, my product costs $5,000. Just to let you right off the bat, I can do 10%, 15%, right? But I cannot go below that. But depending upon the call, how we see it. So right in the beginning, I really want to find out if prospect really sees the value in my product. Usually prospect says, hey, let's go over the call and figure out. Prospect, hey man, that's too expensive. I don't think I can afford. This is the best offer you can do. Now, if 3,000 is their budget, typically that doesn't happen, right? Usually prospects do not have money. I don't know. For some reason that has happened quite a lot. But if they see the value in the product, then money doesn't matter. Listen to this again. If they see the value in your product, then the money doesn't matter. Now, if you are in the beginning of the call and $3,000 is what prospect can afford, your thing costs $5,000, your service or product costs $5,000, then what you want to do is ask them, hey man, I see a gap here, but that's okay. Let's go 10-15 minutes into the call and understand where you are, and let me find out your motivation. Is that something which we can work together here or not? right? Now you are not going 30, 40, 50 minutes into the call and expecting prospect to say, I don't have the money. Right here, you know that, how much prospect is motivated. And in those 10, 15 minutes, you already know there is a money objection. There's a gap right there. What you want to find out is enough about prospect, about what they want, and close that gap. See if that gap can be bridged, okay? Scenario number 4, prospect $3,000, your product costs $5,000. Hey, prospect, nice to meet you. Product costs $5,000 and your budget is $3,000. Just double checking, is it still the case? And is there anything which will change? Now, scenario number 4, this is a scenario, I should have said this earlier. Scenario number 3 and 4 will sound somewhat similar, but that's not the case. In scenario number 3, you do not know how much prospect knows about your product. In scenario number 4, prospect knows enough about the product. Their budget is still $3,000. You just let them know, hey, I know it's just not a good fit right now. See if you can book a call in a month. Ask them if their situation will change in a month. But if that doesn't change, just let them know, hey, it's just not a good fit at the moment. Maybe we can check back later. That's the difference between scenario number 3 and scenario number 4. In scenario number 3, prospect knows nothing about your product. Scenario number 4, prospect knows about your product. Still, it's a money objection. You just want to let them know it's a bad fit. Sometimes I would ask, is this the only thing which is stopping you to get started today, right? Then if they say yes, then again, I would go to scenario number 1 and 2 solution. I'm going to solve for that gap of $2,000. My entire motivation in the call is to understand where prospect is with my product, with my company, with my community. How much does the prospect know? If they see enough value, they're going to do everything to get my product and service. Like, for example, I've invested in a $30,000 course when I actually didn't have that disposable income of $30,000. But it gave me an insight and a platform and value enough for me to launch something where I could recoup more than $30,000. So return on investment is more. That's where I evaluated for myself. That's what the value I saw, right? If that's something which you offer, talk about it with your prospect. Let them see the promised land through the ROI, through the numbers, right? And again, if I also talk about how to tackle these objections with different personalities. There are 4 different personalities, which I have actually created myself based on my understanding of people. This is thunder, ocean, mountains, and soil. You should check it out, what I have to offer on those 4 personalities and how to connect with those four personalities. I call them buyer personalities, how to connect with them and how you can actually sell them. If you like this video, I hope you can like, subscribe, and actually think about this is a career which you want, remote sales, then I highly, highly recommend check out my coursework where you can switch or add your career to remote sales in 7 days. This is a very useful skill for the lifetime. I'm actually a program manager at a Fortune 50 company. I've been a US Army vet. I have 2 engineering degrees, but this is a skill which I have leveraged to the max because this every day, I'm selling something or someone else is selling. Hope you enjoyed the video. Watch out for next 2 videos. I don't have the time, and also I don't have my partner or spouse objection. I specifically talk about those videos down below. Have a great time. Take care. Bye.